Hi everybody, we're going to take video notes on 8th grade Common Core lesson 1.2. We're going to be solving multi-step equations, and there's two things that you need to remember. The first thing to remember is you're going to be combining like terms, and then you're going to be isolating the variable. In the event there is a problem with the distributive property, you need to do that before either of those. Please remember, while taking notes, you need to be going ahead and starting and stopping to write. You either need to be watching it and then writing, or writing and then watching. If at any time you have any questions, you're writing them in the margins of things you need to ask or questions you need clarified. In the first example, I'm going to combine like terms. 8x and negative 6x is 2x. So I'm left with 2x minus 25 equals negative 35. Negative 25 and negative 35 are like terms, but on different sides of the equal sign. So I need to go ahead and move the negative 25 by adding 25 to both sides. I'm now left with 2x equals negative 10. I divide both sides by 2 because 2 and x are next to each other, indicating multiplication. In order to get rid of multiplication or do the opposite inverse, I divide by 2. X ends up equaling negative 5. In the second example, I have a distributive property problem. I have to do that first. 2 minus 10x plus 4 equals negative 8. I'm going to combine like terms before moving them to separate sides. You're going to want variables on one side, non-variables or constants on the other. I have a 2 and a 4, which equals 6. And then I have a 6 and a negative 8, which are like terms, but I have to move my 6. So I add negative 6. You can subtract, but you won't see me subtracting. I have negative 10x equals negative 14. Negative 10 and x are next to each other, which indicates multiplication. So I divide both sides by negative 10. X equals 7/5, or 1 2/5, or 1.4. All right, I'm going to bring that closer so you can see that work. Okay. All right, in my last example, example 3, I'm going to go ahead and do the distributive property. This is a negative 3 or a minus 3 in front of the parentheses. So that negative 3 needs to be distributive to each term inside the parentheses. I have 5 minus 3x minus 6 equals negative 9. 5 and negative 6 are both like terms. Negative 1 minus 3x equals negative 9. Negative 1 and negative 9 are like terms, but I have to move them to the same side of the equation. I'm going to go ahead, equal sign and a negative. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. I have x is a negative and a negative is a positive, so I have 8/3, or I have 2 and 2/3. All right, let me check my work. All right, I have negative 5, 1.4. I don't have that work for 3, so let's go back and check my work. 5x plus negative 3x minus 6 is negative 9. I have a, oh, did I copy the problem wrong? This should have been a 5x, which means I have 5x minus 3x minus 6 equals negative 9. And then those are my like terms. So I have 2x minus 6 equals negative 9. I add 6 to both sides. I have 2x equals negative 3. I divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 3/2, or negative 1.5. Please make sure you go back and you're checking all of your work like I had to do to make sure I didn't eliminate one of the x's. So I'll zoom in on that problem. Please remember, you're copying everything down that I wrote down. Any questions or clarifying issues, write down. All right, thanks guys. Have a good one.